Welcome back, folks. Sorry for the delay. Welcome back to another episode of the Reseller Niche podcast with myself and Russ. How's it going, Russ?
Howdy, Mo.
Nice hats.
How you like that?
I like it.
It's a mini hat day.
I need a hat. Let me see if I can find one in this mess. I bet I could find a hat, actually. Wait, you said it sounded like Mickey earlier, right?
Get a Mickey hat on you, a goofy hat. That was hilarious.
There you go.
There you go. Perfect Mickey hat. Perfect.
Again.
That's exact. You sounded like an alien Mickey during that technical. I was laughing so hard. How you like the backdrop, Mo? Look at that beautiful tree lines.
It's a
Savannah,
lot.
Georgia.
So it's nice, nicer than mine. Right now, I've just got a bunch of mess back and forth. Maybe we should let the people know what our topic is for today. Kind of more of a catch up. We haven't been recording for a while, so I just thought I'd let people know that we're not dead. We are still here. So, how is it going in Savannah?
It's hot.
Nice.
It's not been as hot as other parts of the country, but it's been hot. What is the hot? Things?
What is hot?
Hot here is a relative. It's not a temperature. It's more of a humidity.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I think our highest day was about 95, 96.
Okay.
And that gets in the uncomfortable zone. The problem is it rains pretty much every day. We had flooding that made national news the other day, but the humidity. We're in a bowl.
Yes.
And it's just a massive humidity. You walk outside and it drains you. One thing I've learned from that heat is people here in the South. We've always talked about. We're reverse of the rest of the country. We stay inside all summer and we're outside the rest of the year.
Okay.
It's where the rest of the country is outside all summer and inside the rest of the year. So, what I've learned is there's not as many garage sales. So that's been kind of happening.
Right now, garage sale season is slow for you guys then, or?
Yeah, it's kind of slow. It's by 9:30, 10 o'clock, you're baking, and you're just dripping with sweat. So it's good. So what's new out in California? How are your two cities doing?
Ugh, annoying. This is why I have this giant mess that you can see in the background here. I'm going back and forth. We go back and forth every 3 to 4 days. We'll be situated permanently within the next 3 to 4 weeks, I think.
Gotcha. Are you spending weekends up at the pool?
It was weekends, and because my wife's back at work, so now it has to be weekends. Before it could have been any day of the week. That was fine. But
gotcha.
Yeah, so now it's until they go back to school, we'll be kind of doing what we need to do to get stuff done.
Gotcha. Cool. So, and you're just starting to kind of ramp back up, aren't you? You said you started listing a few things, and
it's been 3 days, I think, that I've been listing. 2 days I've been sourcing. I sourced a little bit yesterday and a little bit the day before. That's the first time in like 6 weeks to a month.
Gotcha.
Maybe more. And then it's just, you can tell the difference. There's nothing that can substitute from a new listing at all.
It just stokes the fire, doesn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I see all those people at eBay open, and I mean, if I had the energy to do that, I would. But also with moving and stuff, it's difficult. Plus, it's on the. I mean, for you, that's on the other side of the country. So
yeah. A Vegas trip would be neat, though. One year I do want to get out there to go. I've never been to Vegas.
It's the other kind of fun for you guys.
Yeah. I've been in heat. Of course, I've lived in Texas and
that's right. I was saying.
Louisiana. So heat doesn't really bother me too bad myself. I like it. We keep our house at about 80 degrees.
Okay.
So yeah, so I prefer the warm weather anyway. So yeah, Vegas would be a neat time one time. Um, I know people learn a lot. It's neat that they get together.
Yeah.
You know, you always see that, and they build that network, and they build that camaraderie up. You know, it's awesome to see people that we've known for quite a while now being some of the top people in the eBay Opens. You know,
It's
like
interesting. It's funny when you see somebody like we've both done this. You see someone on a YouTube channel, or you see someone, and then you see them in real life, and it's like, oh, you have to take a double take. So I mean, I bet that's what a lot of that's probably going on right now. Like,
you
hey,
get
I know you're so and so on that channel.
don't yeah you see that, and all, but also like our friends that we've had on the channel. A big shout out to Chris,
Yeah,
10K on the Bay. He's the one that uh, you know we kind of all started out together on any type of YouTube or
been a while.
um, yeah, it's been a couple years now, and you know Chris, we were in Chris's first mastermind group, and or one of his first mastermind groups, and it's just neat to see him go and getting that recognition and getting that the guy's just wealth of knowledge and
Yeah,
enthusiasm.
I was looking. I mean, I've just looked at some of the pictures I see on Instagram, stuff like that, and you're watching people, and it seems like they have a lot of people come up there and talk. They have those panels,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I've seen lots of different people. Like, go. I mean, so that would be the interesting part for me, just to go up there and just maybe we can learn something. And if it wasn't this time, yeah, I was
yeah.
actually.
What did you
Is it
you were actually talking about going?
I was. It's
Yeah,
not too far
yeah,
from my Vegas trip. I mean, to be honest, if you plan it, because it's maybe a 9 hour drive or an hour and a half flight,
right.
so it's not that bad at all. It's just bad timing this year. But I definitely want to see if I can go next year, just to go, just to experience that. I'm to be honest, maybe I'm a little jaded. I came from a world where you were forced to go to these things. It wasn't like an eBay Open. It was like a
Well,
convention.
true. You know, we both came from that tech background and then the rah corporate background.
Yes.
So some of these, and after you've been to the umpteenth one, it does get kind of, you
Yeah.
know, uh, you need them.
Yeah.
You definitely need that. For the people that need it and the people that go, they're going to get a great experience.
Oh yeah.
Just being around other resellers. Look how much we motivate each other just when we chat or we'll text each other and oh look at this and look at that and it's a motivational type thing and it's just good to be around. We're social animals. It's good to be around birds of a feather.
Oh yeah. Yeah. And because
Yeah.
I can remember going to those other conventions, the non like reselling type conventions, and when you have to pay for that and you have to go and you dread it, that's the worst. So I see these conventions, I'm like, wow, you guys. I mean, just the mental thing that that you're going to a place where you want to go to.
Yeah.
You're looking
Yeah.
forward.
That would be.
That's a huge shift right there. That's the difference.
Well, the conventions I used to go to, especially like some political conventions, most of those it was like, yes, we can get drunk.
There you go. But you know what? I think
Get loose.
that is a theme that is through all of them. I don't think I went to one convention where there wasn't at least one day of open bar, like, or that they give out the tickets. Did you ever get that where they gave out the little, you got free 2 drink tickets or something like that? I mean, that was
Oh, yeah,
that went across the
dude,
board. You need that the
dude. When you're in in the political arena, booze flows very. That's how deals were made back in the day, and
that's how you keep people
uh,
down.
and man, it was go to this vendor and it was top shelf, and man, we just used to tear it up, and here we are, in the public service area, so you had to kind of keep it. You tried to keep it under control. Of course, I was younger, but
I mean,
yeah, it's eh, I I tend to be cynical like you on sometimes like that, and I think if I was going this year,
yeah,
I would might be a little bit more vocal than what they would want an attendee to be?
Yeah, I think this is a kind of. I mean, I don't know. I've never been to eBay, but I remember the conventions we went to had vendors, like you said.
Yeah.
The shipping. So every year, new FedEx is going to be there, UPS is going to be there, DHL is going to be there, plus numerous trucking companies. And the way it worked is that people would show up with a list of questions, angry questions for X, Y, and Z companies. And they'd be like, and then I remember there was one year, I forget which one, it was either UPS or FedEx. They didn't send their normal rep. They sent like the assistant rep because they knew they were going to get grilled about. So they must have had an update that year or a price hike or something. They got grilled. So I would.
I'm sure eBay is getting grilled.
Yeah.
If eBay employees are getting grilled right now because if you're in the know and have kept up with the news, you're concerned about eBay.
Exactly.
We're all intelligent enough to be concerned. We've been there, seen this before. We were worried about, and especially you and I, we put a lot of eggs in the eBay basket.
Yes. Yes.
So it goes into one of the things, Mo, what we've always talked about. Get your other rivers going, get your other streams of income going.
Yep.
Start them out as streams and get them into rivers because one of them can go away at a moment's notice.
That's right.
And even your job, don't people have, your job can go away like that, especially with some global things we've got going on.
Yeah. I mean, not to get political or anything, but things are changing fast. So, I mean, you never know what's going to go on. So, I mean,
it's cyclical. We've all seen ups and downs. How many times have me and you talked about that one day we'll be sitting here going, do you remember eBay?
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember when Amazon was the biggest company in the world? One day, I don't know the future day, the time, but it's going to happen. Amazon will not be the biggest company in the world. No. eBay will have been absorbed, eaten up, taken over, gone for some reason, and the next one will be in place.
Yeah, I see that.
That's
hopefully
business.
Not
so
we're reselling, but totally. I remember I think it was 2007-8. We talked about this before when they had the price increase to, I forget what it was. It went to, they started charging 8% or 9%, whatever it was. It was a big increase though. And that had the mass exodus and people were talking about this new thing called Amazon FBA. So, I mean, the good with the bad. Like you said, the best thing to do is multiple streams of income, multiple avenues.
Be fluid, like we've talked. Here, let's slap this off first. This is a great visual. We have to change hats.
That's right. And this one's getting really
that's getting hot. We have to change hats. We have to, by the way, shout out, these are Stetsons that I've been finding at the weigh and pay.
All right.
So, Stetsons, there you go. Some camo. So,
camo for you.
You got to change sales hat. You got to change hats sometimes. This is a driver, what they call an Ivy hat.
Oh, yeah.
It's a driver, golfer type, whatever, cabbie hat. Sometimes you got to put that hat on to be the driver. Sometimes you got to be the cowboy. Sometimes you got to be the coach. Sometimes you got to, your own business. You put on many hats.
Yes.
And that's just life.
That's what they used to people would ask me when they walked, sorry to cut you off, but they'd ask me when I walked into my old shipping store, so what's your title? And I'd always tell them CEO/janitor.
So, chief bottle washer and busboy, the old saying, yeah. And these people that are complaining about change, I don't know if it's a drama type, the people that complain about change regardless, we all don't like change.
Yeah.
But if you complain about it, you're wasting your time and your energy.
It's something
we can discuss it, but complaining about it doesn't get anything to do. Be ready, folks.
Yes.
It's, there's change coming.
We're both from the IT world. And I know you remember back in the 90s, 2000s, early 2000s, things were going great, and then all of a sudden, companies just started dropping like flies. I mean, it's just the way of the world. I mean,
big companies.
yes,
And there are names I can start throwing out, computer names that people today that are 30 have never heard of.
yeah,
And these were large multi-billion-dollar corporations, and they're gone. I mean, they are literally, they're not even on the face of the earth anymore.
yep,
Um, so it's just going to happen, and that's that's life.
yep.
Yeah, you constantly change. People, you move cities, you have children, you change jobs, you change that type. Just add to that aspect of this is just another change that you have to go through.
This is a slight segue, but I don't know if it's the heat or the summer or what happens, but it always seems to be this time of year where you see people maybe they have more time because maybe there's less sales to think about the negative as opposed to what they could be doing, work on their actual business. But I'll give you an analogy, and this has nothing really to do with reselling. I remember if people can remember before the internet, I'm talking about mid 90s here, this is 1995, 96. In England, they have this thing in the summer where everyone gets a little stir crazy because there's no soccer. And for some reason, from, I don't know if it's mid-May to July, they need to think of things to do. I'm talking about the newspapers. This is pre-internet, so no internet. Right. So they would just literally think up drama, think up all kinds of issues with whatever. You name it, they think up an issue about it. And it was always the middle of the summer. So I think there's something to do with the heat, the lack of things to do, people on vacation, the kids are home, all of that stuff.
The kids are home. I think that's the big one. People that deal with kids,
yep.
or when your kids are home in the summer, you're constantly looking for, and you can get to the point of going stir crazy. And
yeah.
We've done, we're going here again. We're going to the museum, kids. Oh, so it's a factor. You're right.
Yeah.
Crime goes up in the summer.
Oh yeah.
It's just the summertime is for that. Excuse me, Mo.
Oh, no worries. Yeah, it's just always been like this, I think. And I think it was funny because we were talking about this last year. The more things you hear about are usually during this time. Like the spring update is a spring update for a reason.
Right.
It's done, I'm sure, accordingly, because obviously you're not going to do an update in Q4. You're not going to do one in Q3. That's right before Q4. And you don't want to do, then half of Q2 and half of Q3 is basically your slowest season.
Right.
So you want to test it out then. So you do it right before then.
Yeah, so, even like eBay Open. Why would they have? Let's change eBay Open to November.
Yeah, that's not.
That's not going to happen. People aren't going to go, and so summertime is that time. And
I thought Prime Day is a genius. It's genius to have it on maybe the worst time to sell of the year.
Yeah, well, that's when you need the motivation the most. You need new change. What do you think kind of gets into people to where they don't? We're such a mobile society now. We have instant. We want something, we get it. We can get it. What do you think is the psychological thing of sales to where people slow down buying in the summertime? Are they spending more time doing things? Have they spent their money on vacation? Have they?
I think it's all of that. And coming from a family that has a lot of teachers in it, my aunts, my mom, they wouldn't work during the summer. So from like June to September, and I think now you don't get paid. So it's like a 9-month job, a teacher. So, that's one thing. So you've got one person who's home, maybe two if you have two teachers. I don't know. And then on top of that, universities, if you want to add that, you've got all the people that work at these places.
You've got all the support systems that are, all of the restaurants that are near these places, the dry cleaners that are near, so you've got all of that support.
And
so
I think added to that also is you got to think about the holidays in the year. How do we structure our sales? We think about Q4 because of Christmas. Before Christmas, you have like Halloween. Even Thanksgiving is thought of as time to buy stuff for people now.
Yeah,
So
look at all we've talked about in the fall. You've got homecoming, you've got, you know, you've got football games, you've got everything that you're constantly got an event going in the fall.
exactly.
Uh, Goes back to what, like, me and Carol talked the other day about, we've been inside a lot.
Hmm.
And it's like that's what we do. And we just here in Savannah in the September, October, we'll be gone every night. You know, so there's always an event, always a holiday. Um, yeah, good point, Mo. Real good point.
I think
So
John Nevermore Antiques got a couple points about wealth being lost from generation to generation. That's a good point. And then also people are outside more. Yeah, exactly. Just what
yeah,
Russ was saying right there. So
they're
yeah,
more.
it's it is what it is. We kind of talk. Even the fact that we're talking about this is because we've got less things that are going on in our business life right now. If in a
Absolutely,
month from now,
absolutely.
6 weeks from now, it's going to be back. It's already nearly back to school time, basically.
You know, right, and like I started buying jeans
There
this
you go.
week. You know, starting to think ahead, get those jeans listed, get because jean season's going to kick in.
Yep.
You know, if you're now I tight line it. You know, I really tight line my business. So and because of inventory space, I've never really had the inventory space. So now I can actually buy some, and now I'll start picking up Halloween costumes for $1, $2. Picked up some ugly Christmas sweaters already. So you know you start thinking ahead like that. You know your top FBAers, they're 6 months to a year ahead of us.
Yeah.
You know they don't care about a slowdown because their mindset is going. You I something I realized recently is like with doing a lot of auctions.
Yeah.
Um, I consciously know that I can do a lot of good sales on Sunday, and I always like that because then you have that nice Monday pack send out. So that means that Tuesday I'm listing a bunch of items because I like 5 day auctions.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, you know, it's that thinking ahead mentality of if you're sitting there, and I went through this just recently. My listings got low. I got hit with a virus or something, and I was in bed for about 5 6 days. Well, I came out of the, you know, I'm in a, you know, just wore out. I came out of it, and we hadn't had sales in quite a while, and you know, it was kind of like, oh man, I haven't had any sales, and blah blah blah. And I could have just sat there and said, well, it's a slowdown, it's this, it's that. But no, I had to get proactive because I need to eat and
Yep.
I need to keep my lights on.
That's
So,
that's kind of the mentality because I dropped to basically I don't know. No, I was under 100 items. Uh, no listing for 6 weeks, I think it was. No sourcing for the same amount of time. It's weird because you're basically like starting the crank all over again. Just like slow.
that's do you do you do you think how am I trying to get this out? Do you feel like that has helped you though? That you've kind of rebooted? Kind of
Yes,
like a weight loss reboot type thing where you know you kicked your system into
I
gear.
think I think it did help, and I was under the. I think when I started doing this, I remember I was talking about how I'm able to edit and relist stuff, sell similars, and it was working. That didn't last very long.
Right.
It was a very short-lived thing, especially in the slower part of the season. But I think it definitely helped because when I started sourcing again this week, I'm really picky. I'm only gonna buy what I think is gonna like be a total home run, or at least decent.
Right. Right.
And then I think that I think all of us need to do this: just adjust, tweak, and adjust constantly. Um, I mean, as far as my sales go, yeah, they're not going to be very good right now, but I think within a month they should be
Yeah.
good.
You're going to see. You know, something we've always talked about is I don't sell what I listed today. I sell what I listed last week,
Exactly.
and that's true. You know, when's the best time to plant an apple tree? 5 years ago.
Yeah.
When's the second best time? Today.
Today. Yeah.
So it's the same way with listing. You're not going to sell. You do get occasionally quick sales, and they do happen. Even 5 days on an auction, even 7 days on an auction, that's a time element. You're planting that tree, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
Well,
yeah,
I
you're planting your trees all over, and you're sometimes it takes a fire to clean the forest out where things will start growing again.
sometimes these unforeseen, break stops, we get sick, we get busy. Some of it actually helps in a weird way.
Yeah, it kind of does, and we have to, because excuse me, Mo,
Oh, no
we
problem.
can we can really get into a rut, you
Yeah.
know, listing the same items type day. One of the reasons, I have talked a lot about. I like the vintage and the weird, the you like the weird shirts and the
I like
because
strength better.
they're different, But eventually, if all you're listening is shirts, I get bored at that real
Yeah,
quick.
I'm the same way. Like, and actually, you know what? We just got a question. Let's see. What do you think about eBay charging 4% more for people who get high returns? That's funny you say that. That was John again. Because basically, I was on the phone with eBay talking about them this exact question this morning. Because I mean, I do have a lot of clothing, and I've started to see a slight uptick in returns. So I was asking them about that because free returns. Now it's not 30-day, it's 60-day returns, free returns. Some people do free shipping and free returns, and then somebody wants to return it. And, it's going to happen. It's part of the business. But being dinged for that, being told that um, you could possibly lose top rated or top rated plus because your returns go up higher. That was my question. And according to, and this is just one rep, she said that basically you're not going to get dinged most of the time because most of the time they're going to be asking, and you can put it in one of those boxes to where you may have to pay for the return, but it's not going to be because you did something wrong. It's going to be at the customer's request. So your return rate may go up, but it won't affect your defect rate, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, it's all about the NAAD
Yeah,
item not as described or faulty item or
yeah,
that type. That's my understanding. Here's my take on it, Mo, uh, and I'm going to talk just real
okay,
about it. They are pushing. They're the only industry or the only entity in the industry right now pushing these free returns.
hmm,
Everybody else is walking back from returns.
yeah,
Some don't even allow returns, so you have that issue. They're pushing free returns, and then they come right back out and they say, "This is what's going to help your sales." And then right after that, they tell us, "Well, and by the way, if you get higher returns, you're going to get dinged higher." That's government mentality because they're taxing the very person, the very people who pay the taxes.
yeah,
And we're the first, the middle taxers, the middle people. We're the first to get taxed, the last to get benefits. So, or see the benefits of the tax raised tax.
oh yeah,
I get that part. I mean, that's my first take on it. The second part of that is, quality of stuff. Get your listings in detail. Again, be proactive on it. You're going to have those ones that, oh, this is ineffective. Well, show me pictures.
yeah.
And I've had I've had three in the last 4 years that were not as described.
Yeah. I mean, this is what scares me because I know the rep I was talking on the phone was trying to make it seem like it's not going to affect my rating, but I can't believe that 100%. And like people are saying in the chat right now, free returns equals more dings on your account. It's simple math. It has to be that way.
Right. And now here's the nice thing about free returns. You don't have to do it.
Yeah, that's true.
Right now we're not in it. We're opting out. I've opted out. I don't want, when they said, well, you can build it into your business model. I don't want to build it into my business model.
Yeah.
Right now, maybe later I will, but right now I'm just worried about sourcing and restart. I've
Exactly.
restarted the business 4 months ago.
Here's the thing that
So,
I noticed about eBay. eBay works on a slightly slower level than obviously than Amazon. But what I've noticed from Amazon, people would always complain, and still to this day, they take returns, no question. But Amazon slowly is starting to, I know it's only higher level returns, but they're going after those. Like people that have, I don't know if it's hundreds or thousands of dollars worth of returns, they're going after those people. If they feel they're fraudulent returns, they're going overboard. But at least it's a step in the right direction.
yeah,
I don't see eBay doing that yet because they still are on the board of, they're still on the, the mental track of we want to do free returns. We want to get more people buying, more people feeling good about buying. I get that. But at the same time, if someone knows that if I put out a table of apples and I just say take them all for free, someone's going to take them all for free. And I can't be offended at that person for taking them all. So, I mean, if you say take one, then maybe in the back of their mind, they're going to be like, okay, I should only take one.
right.
So, I mean,
Well, you know how Amazon started fighting that with the return problem? Do you remember the big story?
no, not really. No.
They when they kind of announced that they're going to start cracking down on returns, they literally, there was a story about a woman that had like 3 things she returned.
Mm-hmm.
3 things. That's it. And she wasn't a big buyer. She wasn't buying from big sellers.
Only 3.
And that store 3 or 4. It was a really small amount.
Okay.
Amazon kicked her. They killed her account.
Okay.
And all of the news stories picked that up. See, that we have to forget that sometimes that's how you start a movement, is you let everybody know that,
Yeah.
hey, if throwing your cigarette butt out of your car, people do it. People do that, and the first time somebody gets fined $500 for that, and it hits the news,
Exactly.
and it's all over Facebook, it's all over Instagram. That guy smoking his cigarette, he may think twice before he throws that out.
Yes.
So hopefully eBay will do something like that too.
I think the difference here is that Amazon actually has a warehouse. They have to store the return. They have to get it back, and if you're doing FBA, they receive it. So that's part of it too. eBay isn't doing that. Let's just take a Target or a Walmart. Now that I think about it, they have I don't know if it's a $70 or $100 max that you can take back. I think it's without a receipt though. So let's just say I got $100 worth of stuff. You get, toys at Christmas or whatever. You want to return stuff. They'll cap it at $100 without a receipt. Now, I don't know if you have receipts, you can constantly return stuff, but I'm pretty sure they have rules about that too.
Yeah, a lot of them now have rules, store credit only.
Exactly.
So I see where you're going. eBay still loses money.
Yeah.
Because they lose that fee of that item. And let's face it, there are some bad sellers out there.
Mm-hmm.
We've all heard the stories. They're not. Now, I don't want to focus on bad sellers because, in my mind, there's a lot of great sellers and a few bad ones, and there's a lot of great buyers and a few bad ones.
Exactly.
So and you always have to to punish the chickens for the fox getting in the hen house. And that's kind of what I thought about when I saw this extra percent. I'm like, well, it's just another way for them to squeeze us, but it's also a way for them to get the chickens in line. I
think if I was if I was in eBay's whatever department and I was looking at free returns, you have to do free returns with a caveat, with an asterisk, because you can't just say free returns and not explain. I think in most people's eyes, they don't get it. If you say to me, say to you, we're like, no, we're not going to do it as a seller. And as a buyer, you'd be like, okay, good. I can try that. It's like free trying stuff on. Like, I mean,
yeah.
There has
and my stuff. I do some, I had do clothes. We've got, uh, the guys that do the vintage clothes, the guys that do a lot of clothes, shoes. I get that. There's sometimes where you buy them and you go, hey, they don't fit.
Yeah.
Now I have returns on 80-90% of my items anyway, but I like to control that. At least
Yeah.
know. Now 3 times, Mo, 3 times I've had to change that setting in my account to not automatically accept all returns.
Gotcha.
So another glitch that eBay, another glitch that
This
eBay
happens
is.
to happen.
It just 3 times in the last couple, because I'll get a return request and it says eBay has automatically approved this return
That's
request.
what I was actually on the phone with him about this morning. That's
Yeah,
exactly what happened.
same thing. Now you know what, the guy got a hat. He said it was too big for his head. He wanted to return it. I would have approved it anyway. I get so little returns that I usually just, okay, here, yeah, sure, I'll do a return, no
I mean,
problem.
here's the thing. I don't like pre eBay automatically approving anything. I want to be the one to do it for that exact reason. I used to sell a lot, especially on Christmas. I sent a lot of ornaments, Christmas items. They're fragile, they're breakable. I get it. It might have got dinged in the mail, bent, whatever. People email me back and they'll say I remember it was like a Santa Claus. It was about 12 inches tall. It got chipped on the side. The guy emailed me really polite and said, you know what? Here's a picture of it. It got chipped on the side. What can you do? That's all he said. So I just said, okay, would you take a 50% refund? We can keep the item. Done. I get some money back. He keeps his item. But if
Right,
eBay had stepped in, he would have had to ship it back at his cost, possibly. I could have got negative feedback. I get a broken item back.
right.
That's a lose, lose, lose.
Because of one, and both, it goes back to our IT
Yep.
area, because of one on-off switch.
Yep.
And if both of us, as a programmer, it drives me absolutely crazy when I see a glitch like that, because I know that a program has to metaphysically, whatever, has to actually run and go, I'm going to turn this off for everybody now.
Yep.
Oh, I'm sorry, it's a glitch. Well, there's no such thing as a glitch. There's something called human error, and it's either a program error. You know, there's this. My alarm clock didn't work right in the morning, and I didn't wake up, and I was late for work. That's not the alarm clock's problem. That's the operator error.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
that's a hot button with me, man. Don't blame it on the computer. Computers fail. I understand that, but computers don't change data inadvertently. They don't change one sect of data inadvertently without having a program hitting it. So don't buy into this. Well, it's just a glitch. No. There's something behind that at all times. There's a human behind that at all times.
Yeah, it's just I get the whole idea of the good customer service experience. I get that. I understand.
Absolutely.
But I think eBay's thinking right now is a little bit, I'll say, from 2000, 2005, when the internet was not brand new, but starting to get rolling. Um, I think people are a little nuanced. The fact that you use your cell phone as opposed to a laptop or computer, people are nuanced enough to understand that if I have free reign to return whatever I want, I'm not going to get dinged about it. I'm going to take advantage of it. There's 5% of the people that will do that regardless.
And you will have those that request to return,
Yeah.
and they never send it back, and the return is closed.
Yeah.
So that's going to happen. Everybody has bought an item from a store, from an online store, and said, I need to return this. And they may even go to the store and say, I need to return this, and they put it in the car. I've driven around it with something in the trunk, and just didn't. And by then, now it's 90 days later. Oh man, I forgot to take that to the store. That's going to happen too. One of the things that I'll give eBay, I always try to look at all sides of it, look at things. One of the things that I try to think about, like why they came up with this system and why we're struggling with it, I don't think is, I don't have the ability to have the data to see what they see.
Exactly.
They may be having to do this to deal with things like some of the Chinese resellers that, you know, we've all heard the stories. Amazon was tough about it. Amazon had a lot of, you know, a guy got a picture of a placemat. I mean, of a doormat. It was an actual picture of a doormat. That's what they sent him when they said he's getting a doormat. You know, we've all seen the pictures online of the Yeezy shoes that are,
Yeah.
you know, fakey. So maybe there is a reason outside of our business, outside of the U.S., outside of the U.K. and Europe, that is driving this. That, hey, if we push this, maybe we'll push those sellers out. I don't know.
Here's what I'm thinking, though. On one hand, eBay has taken strides in the last year. Like, I'm seeing pictures of people sending back from eBay Open right now talking about multi-user platform on eBay now. Like, you can hire people on the other side of the country, and they have access, minimal access. You can control what they have access to.
Right.
So if you're able to do that for the account, why can't you nuance the returns a little bit? Have a little thing in the sellers, I don't know, in our, our account where we can go in there and then have 3 different check boxes for returns. Like, you know what, we'll accept all returns for this item. We won't return, nothing for this item. Different things. If you can do one, why can't you do the other? That's what doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, and both you and I know the hardcore of it. Again, going back to, it's an on-off switch.
Yeah.
It's ones and zeros, and it's money at that point because it costs somebody to turn those ones and zeros off.
Yeah,
and they are an internet company. They are, that's what they are. They are an e-commerce internet company, one of the best, one of the greatest, but they got to step their programming up.
I mean, and this is all assumption. I don't know any of this. All I know is that just from hearing how Amazon works and how they have, every department is different, and not just department. Like, the guys that are in charge of setting up sales are different from the guys that are in charge of the websites. They have like 50 different websites. So when one has to work with another, it's a real ordeal. I'm wondering if it's the same thing. I'm guessing it's the same thing with eBay. So the guys that are in charge of free returns are not necessarily the guys in charge of, all the other things that would take to actually get that to work. So like you said, it's kind of like, is it going to be a benefit for them? Are they going to lose their, I don't know if they have a stipend for their group? Going back to just the way programming management worked when I was in it, is it worth it to me? Unfortunately, that's the way it was. As a project manager, to start up a project about this, I mean, maybe that's selfish, but that's kind of the way.
Well, and I think back to my days at corporations like Johnson and Johnson, and we were multi-platformed at the time. We had probably 5-6 different platforms, of computers that were all talking to each other.
Yeah.
And one would make a change, and they'd send bad data, and we'd go, well, you didn't tell us. So yeah, you're right. And they said, well, we need this changed immediately. Hey, we're on this other project.
Exactly.
So yeah, there's some corporate structure that we have to think of sometimes. That going back to what my statement is, I don't have all the information they have. They don't. There's no way I'm gonna have all that information.
Devin's number on speed dial right there.
What's that?
You don't have Devin on speed dial right there.
Right, and so it's hard. We can sit here and badmouth them and talk, and
we don't.
So, but this is an intelligent we try to have an intelligent conversation about it, and look at all sides, and keep in mind that it's still one of the best things out there.
Oh yeah.
It's got the, Amazon's its own thing, but just for the average guy to sit there and list. I helped a guy start up his eBay recently, and that was fun, man. You want to really get motivated, or watch a new seller, help a new seller come in. And he was like, well, he was nervous. Of course, he's nervous about all the things we were shipping.
Mhm.
What if they return it? So all those questions came up. Look at I'm nervous. He's this guy's a teacher, and he's like, I'm like a newbie nervous kid. He goes, I don't know why I'm so nervous. And, it can be such a huge animal.
Oh yeah.
And we have to remember that. But that
I mean,
was, and I got so excited helping him. We went and had lunch, and and his first sale was $300.
oh, nice. I mean, isn't
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Find someone that you can actually talk to. That's not, within this circle that we have. We tend to think this is like a lot of people. Our little circle of resellers is not that big compared to the rest of the, even e-commerce out there.
Right.
Um,
Your average seller is just maybe cleaning out their closet, maybe wanting to make a few extra bucks. So you think on their level occasionally. So
it's funny you say that, because this weekend I was at a family get together, and I had two family members come up to me separately. They just, I mean, I don't really talk about reselling at all, but they both individually asked me, so I heard you do a little bit with Amazon, do a little with eBay. And then one of them had like gone to a seminar of some kind. I have no idea. And then they were talking a little bit about it. And then the other one was asking me a lot of detailed questions. So, so explain this. What is FBA? How do you do? I'm like, and that's the first time that I heard someone that's really not in this field. They're not. They're like an engineer, and just asking me questions about that. And I was trying to give. I mean, it's not that difficult of a subject to talk about, but usually I'm a little apprehensive because you get the eye roll after about, I don't know, 20 seconds.
Right.
So I'm a little apprehensive.
You used to. You used to get it a lot. Well, I sell on eBay. Oh God, because everybody would come up with their, we're human, we're negative we can't be negative. Oh, I bought something on eBay, I bought something on Amazon, and it was, I've heard those, and you get that eye roll. But now when people are seeing, or hearing that, and they're saying, man, I paid $10 for something, I sold it for $100, they go, and who's helped that? Gary V.
Yeah.
He's helped that. People like that, Chris Green,
Andy
Slammons, those guys have really been pushing that, hey, get a side gig going.
Yep. And it's kind of like the normalization of reselling in a sense that wasn't even around maybe 5 years ago. But like I had, actually, this is the third relative, now that I think about it, like last week, told me about that whole Amazon, how they're trying to outsource driving or whatever, you pay X amount and you can pick up trucks for them or something like that. I didn't even know about that. And he was telling me about this. And again, another non-reseller or whatever. And I was like, oh, interesting. I looked it up and he was right. I mean, there's there's a Rockstar video about that. And so it's funny how it's being normalized. It's the average now. It's that people can and I think kind of this goes hand in hand with people ask about why are prices going up, like Goodwill's, why are Walmart's acting, Target's acting a certain way towards resellers. It's because it's being normalized. It's because it's the average person is finding out and doing this now.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it's and goes back to what we said. Everybody has the same ability as you and I.
Mm-hmm.
And we really do. It's not any knowledge. It doesn't take anything to start on that app and start going and or watch YouTube. So everybody has the same ability. And you're right. The normalization is it's taken years, as you stated, but Amazon now everybody understands Amazon, and they know that Amazon is a huge business. So they get it.
Just think of it this way, because I know. Like Amazon's whole thing is day one, like Jeff Bezos always talks about, this is day one, this is day one. Let's just say this really is day one. And everyone that's doing reselling right now, we've been on the ground level. We're on the first floor for the last 2 or 3 years. We have a 2 to 3 year head start. And in the next year, number of resellers is going to go through the roof, whatnot. I mean, would that be a benefit or it would be a hindrance to reselling, you think? Or do you think it would, I mean, people always go on, they're scared about, am I going to be able to do this for 10 years for the rest of my life? Is this the beginning? Is this the middle? Is this I don't think it's the end, definitely, but I mean,
Oh, it's always going to be there now. I think it's because people see, and if you look at history for a little bit, if you go back to the way our society was, let's take 100 years ago. World War II had just, or World War One had just finished. We're a pretty rural society, but however, in a town, you had the guy that raised bees that you went and got your honey from. You had your guy your family that here in Savannah, you had the family that went out crabbing. You had the family that went out shrimping. You had the family that raised the vegetables, and you all kind of like intermingled. And you did this boutique thing, and then we changed to a work society, to where we all had jobs. So it's again another big circle to where we'll all have a niche, or we'll all have a product. We'll all have these things online, and some will fail, just like small farms failed back then. Some will succeed and become big corporations or big companies like BFHO.
I think actually what you're saying is actually coming back full circle. If you think about wholesaling and private label, those beekeepers are now making their own beekeeping accessories or whatever.
And they have, instead of been in business since 1930. The honey we get is kind of a local honey. They've been in business since 1935. They started out with one hive, I bet you.
Oh yeah, I just want to point out one thing. It's hilarious because you've gone from being super bright in the background to completely in the
just. I just was thinking about that. Hang on just a second.
That's awesome. No worries. Oh, there we go. We have light.
There we go.
There you go. Awesome.
But yeah, so is it day one? Absolutely, it's day one.
Yeah.
And where's it going to go? And this is what Gary Vee talks about. Some of the things, if you're not watching and growing, let's take the big boy, the big mom and pop. Is it BFHO? eBay.
Yeah, I think
BFHO. Okay, they started out with one hive. They now they are the biggest on eBay.
Yeah.
They've now branched into their own. They have their own site type thing. So what happens to them if they continually just doing the same thing day after day? And now everybody, and they don't go to Instagram, they don't go to Pinterest like Michael talked to us about.
Yeah.
They don't go to, in 10 years, they don't have a virtual reality store that the person can pick their item up and look at it and touch it and feel it, smell it. They don't have that virtual reality store. They don't have, the YouTube channel about their store. What's going to happen to that beehive? It's going to
BHFO is going to be.
They're going to be gone.
They're going to be Blockbuster. They're going to be. That's what I always think of now. And it's funny because I remember very frequently renting at Blockbuster. I don't know if everybody out there can remember. That's only 5 years ago they went bankrupt, or is it maybe?
They closed. Yeah, it's been about about 7, 8 years ago. But 15 years ago, they were huge.
I heard, I don't know if it's a rumor, they had the opportunity to buy out Netflix. Or
they did.
And
from what I've heard, yeah. Now, here's the next thing, Mo. Do you remember when Netflix came out and they said, you order online, we'll send it to you.
Yes.
You watch it and you send it back. And my first thought was, that's a load of crap. I'll just go down to Blockbuster and rent the thing tonight.
I do remember that because that's what Blockbuster did. I was in an apartment. I remember at this time, Netflix came out with that, and I think there was a video game one that was similar to Netflix doing the same exact thing, but you had to mail it back, and they give you like the little envelope, whatever. But then Blockbuster came out with a thing where like, I think it basically you rent, and then every time you return it, you can get another one, and you go back.
Right.
It's like unlimited. But that's when they stopped. Then I think Netflix said, okay, this isn't going to work. What's the next step? But Blockbuster didn't do that. They just said, well, we just want to use our stores.
We've got all these stores. We're great, and we don't need to invest in any online business because streaming's not going to be what they think it is. There's always somebody. I just thought of something. Free returns is the new Coke. Is free returns going to be eBay's new Coke? But so Blockbuster, Netflix, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. You're right, and so you have to innovate. You have to going back to, is this day one? Absolutely. And you can be anything. This business can be anything you want it to be.
Oh yeah, I think that's what and it's funny because I remember. I mean, not that I was watching a Facebook video yesterday, and I usually don't, but this just popped up, and it was a guy debating Tai Lopez, and I'm not the biggest Tai Lopez fan at all, but I remember towards the end, I thought the guy had some good points. He was basically saying that he didn't know his stuff, and he's just a marketer, X, Y, and Z. But at the end, I think Tai Lopez had one good point because the guy said, "You're not making a real business," and his response to that was, "Well." Oh, no, he said, you're not making real business. Every business you're making is just based off your name. It's all just branding. And his response to that is every business now is branding.
Every business is
branding. And I got to admit, he was right about that. Everything is. I mean, people's face, they want to know who you are, what you had for breakfast, if you don't have a face to that business, you're not, Apple without Steve Jobs is not doing as well. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So,
who's Tim Cook? What does Tim Cook look like?
I cannot tell you what he looks like. I've heard of him. Exactly.
He honestly, he has the same hair color I do. But if Tim Cook walked up to you at a store, you wouldn't know.
I would not
now,
know.
If he said, "I'm Tim Cook, CEO of Apple," you'd go, "Oh."
Exactly.
But if Steve Wozniak walked down the street, you'd go, "There's Wozniak."
Yeah, but he's also probably on a Segway too, though. And you could tell. But
what's that?
He'd probably be on a Segway because you write down those things. But
and it is. So where do we, as just two guys sitting in a bedroom or sitting in the sunroom talking? Yeah. How do we do it? How do we start branding ourselves? How do we start just what we said? Like our friend Michael, he does Pinterest. I think part of Chris is awesome on Instagram.
Yeah, I think part of it is what we're doing right now. Part of it is what you can do. Private label is a perfect example of people that do it properly. I think that the idea of branding is still very new. It's funny that we say it's new. Actually, I shouldn't say that because, GM, IBM. Burberry has been around for 150 years.
Yeah.
Jack Daniels. I'm sure there's companies that have been around for 300 years. But the idea of branding as we see it now with a face is relatively new, where basically you start with the person and then you get the product. I think
here's a challenge, Mo, and we've talked about this. Is like call somebody up, go to lunch.
Yeah.
In Sacramento that you're moving to.
Yeah.
Good size, large city.
Yeah.
Here's a branding opportunity that a lot of people miss. Sacramento, within a year, should know when they see your picture, when they see you at a store, they should know that guy buys things.
Yeah, that's that
guy. Oh. So local branding is something we all haven't really even kind of talked about. We've kind of resellers, we kind of want to stay low on the radar. We don't want to be, but here in Savannah, it's a very it's a very connected town. Not meaning it's click, but it's not. It's cliquish, but it's also connected.
Yeah.
I want to be the guy in Savannah that says, when you have something in your house that you want to get rid of, and you just want to get rid of it and make a little money on it, call Russ.
Yeah.
You know, and so, because there's where your sourcing can come from.
Yeah. I'm just putting up your channel here. That's what I was typing about right there. Because somebody asked about.
Oh, my 3 videos on my channel.
Have a YouTube channel. I said, yes, he does. So that's what I was typing right there. But,
I got a video of my dog, my worms, and one haul video. So
a million videos on the way. So I mean,
well, I need to get better about that. I apologize.
I'm the same.
I did want to mention, Mo.
Yes.
You know, again, your expertise that you passed on to me and others. I bought a massage chair.
Okay.
And it sat for a while, and I finally listed it. You know, death pile type thing.
Yeah.
And it was big. It was a fold-up massage chair, but it was pretty big.
Okay.
You know, I sold it and shipped it today in a 40 by 16 by 16 box.
Nice.
And so that's a big box.
Yes.
It's in my haul video. I said, I'm not afraid to ship big things because of Mo.
Nice.
So,
I mean, anyone can ship anything that's big. And what I think is, I was always nervous before when we did shipping before. Obviously, we're not going to ship in used boxes. We had to make it look relatively presentable.
right.
It's not going for me, my eBay stuff. But when you're selling eBay stuff, I think I'm not saying use boxes with holes and everything like that. Make it presentable to a point, but get it there in one piece. I'd rather do the latter. I mean, I think people are scared that, you know what, for example, doubling up boxes, 2 boxes that just kind of go end to end, that kind of thing. It's not one box. Is that good? Blah, blah, blah. Well, if you make it secure, it's fine. I mean,
you got the right amount of tape and the right amount of stiffness to it, right?
Exactly.
Hey, did you happen to see one of the new innovative things I saw recently was a returnable and reusable shipping package?
Interesting. Is that,
you know, think about some of the video games, you know, and the DVD video game cases of all the PS2s and everything we shipped. We use those little 5x9 bubble mailers.
Yeah.
Well, it's basically a bubble mailer that's made out of more of an organic material. And when you get the product, you stick the mailer back into the mail, and it goes either to a processing or a central system, or it can go back to the person that it was
and this can be more than twice,
or they can use it again to ship something else.
How many? Does it say how many times you could do that, or
unlimited?
That's cool, because I've only ever seen the FedEx ones where it has the 2 tabs.
Right.
Like, you know, you use it once and then use it a second time and then it's done.
No, this is think bookbind, you know, school binder that has the zipper on it.
Got it.
Yeah, it's something similar like that. Look it up on Google.
Look that up real fast. They were asking, how did you ship that? Was it FedEx? The massage table.
That's a FedEx. My rule of thumb is anything over about 15 pounds always goes FedEx. Big boxes always go FedEx. If I remember right, the price to ship with UPS ground, post office ground, was about $80.
Okay.
FedEx did it for less than 50.
Nice.
So FedEx, you'll see, as you know, FedEx we've got a good rate with eBay.
We do. I would say one thing is compare which I didn't do before, but compare home delivery with ground, is sometimes one of them is cheaper than the other. It used to be just, I forget which one. One of them was always the cheapest. It's not always the case. Look at both the top two, the home delivery and the ground, I think it is. And Nick Hill's in the chat. How's it going, Nick?
Nick, how's things over on the other side of the globe?
He was in Florida, actually. I don't know if that was like a while back or recently, but I think he was in Florida.
Well, now Florida's close to Georgia, so two things. He's always got, anybody's always got an open invitation. We have an extra bedroom. It's the roaming pickers B&B. There's no price for it. We'll go out, just buy us dinner. And then two things, stay out of Georgia, Nick, because I'm picking, I'm sourcing and picking in here.
Hey, we've got other people in here. We've got Yong, you've got Shane, you've got Bumcrack Picker, best name ever. What's up, guys? What's going on? I'm going to put the link in here just in case you guys, let me see here.
Yeah, I hope Yong's doing well.
Anyone wants
and
to
Shane, anybody wants to jump on, say hi. And
we're nearly wrapping up, but I just put the link in there just in case anyone wants to jump on. But yeah,
Jeff Bezos, if he wants to jump on.
Are you talking to him yet? I thought we were ignoring him.
We played phone tag.
Okay.
I've left him messages, and the police have stopped by the door. I think that's
that's how it goes sometimes.
That's how it goes with Visa. It's going down.
I mean, it's funny. I mean, it's funny that we have these conversations about, like, I just wonder what we'll be talking about in a year from now, if we're going to be talking about the same exact things. I think some of them, yes, some of them, no.
It'd be the same. It'd be different, but it'd be like, the summer's a slow time. eBay's trying this program. What were we talking about a couple years ago? The valet system, eBay Valet, or if that works, or if they. What was it last year?
I think, are you talking about yeah, I think it's eBay Valet, and then there's Amazon. I forget what they call theirs. But yeah, I mean, these things kind of come and go. I think with Amazon, it's like they're constantly testing the market. Does this work? Does that work? When I read the paperwork on their Amazon, I don't know what it's called exactly. Their program where they have, you pay 10 grand, I think it is, and then they want you to have 20 to 40 trucks.
Become a shipping subsidiary of them.
I could not think of something, and I love Amazon. I couldn't think of something I want to do less than that. I mean, the amount of packages they have, they want you to work 365. It's nonstop. I mean, if you have that infrastructure already, then it might work. But if
for a common guy like me and you to say, yeah, we're going to do that. I need 24 trucks, so let's go buy 24 used trucks.
Costs
that's $100 grand right there. So common guys not going to. It's the top end or middle tier, top end entrepreneurs that have $100,000-$200,000 to put into a new business. They're typically not going to be the ones going to thrift stores or weigh-in pays or retail arbitraging.
I mean, you're already seeing, I don't know how many times you've had Amazon packages delivered and they just literally knock on the door and run off because they have zero time. And I don't know how busy, I'm sure your downtown area where you are is relatively busy. It's definitely busy around here. Getting from one side of it's Fremont to that, and Fremont's a suburb, not a metropolitan area. Just getting from, I took my son to the dentist at, I think we got out of there at 3 p.m. It took me till 3:45 to go about 7 miles on the freeway. And like I said, this is not it's not a downtown type city. It's a suburb.
It's a suburb. And for the people that do that, man, hey, what an opportunity! If you've got that, if you know, there are people that have been that can get into the trucking industry or the delivery industry like that.
Yep.
Man, that's great because they got a built-in client, a built-in top client.
I think this is going back to what you were saying earlier about, we're talking about, 100 years ago, you go to your separate person for this, separate person for that. It's going full circle. You're going to see people advertising. Oh, you already see truck schools. You probably see it on the back of trucks all the time.
Yeah.
All these different, like, not industrial type jobs, but jobs that people maybe overlooked because of the internet and whatnot. But all of these jobs are coming back because people either don't have those skills anymore, or they're in desperate need. I mean, how many machinists do I always see ads? If I always go through Craigslist ads, and you always see specific jobs needed, desperately needed, and they're getting a lot of money for these things: machine type, electrical type, specific type jobs.
Right.
So we're coming back to that full circle. I mean,
coming back to full circle, we're becoming again a boutique society.
Yep.
We're also becoming a self-sufficient, where we're understanding that the job society has issues.
Yeah.
They don't take care of us as much, so that's why people are getting side gigs. We're calling there's a new term, in fact, side gig society.
Yeah, tradesmen. That's what Shane was just saying. Yeah,
tradesmen, right? And right. So we're getting this side gig society where, I grew up at a time where I chose either college or go into a career.
Yeah.
And I knew that if I chose the right career, I could be there for 20, 30 years.
Yeah.
And I was in IT for 20 years. Now we don't have that, people graduating high school, let alone college, let alone high school, don't have that ability. Nope. So they're becoming, you've heard many people have 2 and 3 jobs just to survive. And usually if it's a 2-member head of household or 2 head of household family, they have 4 jobs. So that's called side gig. You got your one job and then you got another job, that's a side gig. So people are becoming to this side gig society.
It's funny that we call it that too. It's side. I mean, I always talk about. I mean, I've been talking about the last couple of months about how I'm trying to move full time in the reselling and all this. I'm wondering if that's ever actually going to take place. Am I always going to have multiple things that I do? And I think that's.
I hope so, Mo. I mean, I hope both for you. I hope both you and I find our one niche where we make 250, 300,000 a year.
That'd be nice.
I would right. I'd like to find that one product and do that. I'd like to get to that point where I make $500,000 a year.
Yeah.
I'd also, while I'm doing that, goes back to the original this thing. We got to wear many hats. Me and Carol talked recently about the downturn. What will we do if we have to take jobs or side jobs? We'll do it. If I have to go mow grass, I'll do it. We went out in the desert for 3 months and worked as gate guards. So you do whatever. You'll do whatever. But your side gigs will be, I mean, you've got great experience with shipping. Somebody may walk up to you and say, Mo, I will pay you $50 an hour to teach my people how to ship. You come over 10 hours a week, 10 hours a month, and you're going to go $500 for 10 hours, and you pay my expenses? Yeah, I'll take that.
Yeah. I mean, it's funny you say that. I did that. I've done that presentation for Businessmen's Association. This is probably 12 years ago or something like that. But I remember doing that, picking up a monitor, and like these people, half of them are looking at you like you're an idiot, and half of them are like actually taking notes. And that's, yeah, I mean, these skills that we acquire, I think it's coming back around. And the fact that like electricians, and if you have skills, I don't know, plumbing or whatever it might be, those individual skills are going to be high, because a lot of people, sad as it is, don't want to learn. Especially once you get, I mean, maybe a little bit older, or actually, I should say the opposite. If you're a kid and you just see, all the opportunity out there, you just want to stay online or whatever. It's different than say 15, 20 years ago.
Boy, do we have much more things to, to keep us off focus, to keep us, you know, we've got so much things going on that we watch. Georgia just recently passed a hands-free law for driving. You can't use your cell phone in your hand.
Gotcha.
We have to make a law for that. Something that should be
common sense.
It's common sense. We have to make a law for that now. So we've got so much that distracts us.
Oh yeah.
So it's even harder.
You're on the street with their cell phones in their hands.
Oh, yeah. People have gotten, just
run over.
Hurt.
Run
over. Yeah, that's. I've seen it. I've seen almost people walk out in the street.
Yep.
But so they've had. There's so much. So you have to really focus, and or use it. I look at our buddy Chris. He's doing. Or let's talk about one of our old green room member buddies that his channel has taken off. Resell Rabbit.
Oh yeah.
Isn't it awesome to see a guy that's put that time in and his channel has taken off? Hopefully now he's starting to get rewards from that channel.
I think it is.
Monetary rewards because he's 100,000 subscribers.
Something like that.
Who we got coming in? Is that Bezo?
I have no idea. That might have been.
Thought I heard the ding.
It might have been my door. It beeps every time somebody opens it.
Oh, gotcha. Sounded.
No, you're absolutely right because his channel has gone through the roof, and I think it's because he literally just shows what he's doing as he's doing it, and it's just people want to see this. They want to see the work. They want to see the hard work.
Yeah,
it's paying off for him, and I think it's great. I mean, so more power to him.
So. Well, good. Who else is in the chat? I don't have my chat up, so.
Gotcha. So we're going to wrap this up. I want to say thank you. John, Nevermore Antiques, got Young, where are we? Let me see here. Got Rising Grind Picker, Shane. What's going on? Bumcrack Picker, Retro Aficionado.
Bumcrack. Gotta love that. We got to have Bumcrack on the Bumcrack Picker.
Have to get him on.
You're our next guest, Bumcrack Picker.
Bumcrack Picker. It's the best name ever, I think. But I think, we neglected the chat a little bit. But I think once we're going to start doing more shows as we get closer to, especially as we get closer to Q4. But we'll, there he is. There's Bumcrack. Best name ever, hands down. You get the award, the lifetime best screen name.
You win. He wins. That's it. All names. Now there are no more names. Picker names.
The number 2 best name. You can't.
That's it. Now you'll be number 2 down the list, but Bumcrack Picker is number 1.
Exactly. I think that's a good way to end it right there. So Bumcrack, you have an open invitation anytime you want, and we'll interview you anytime. Yeah. Nope. The best name ever. But I think we'll wrap it up here. Russ, any last words?
Yeah, I posted it the other day. Focus on crap that matters.
I agree.
Yep.
Yes. I mean, one thing I've done in the last couple of weeks is I've been watching less of everything online, to be honest. I'm trying to focus. Plus, part of it is I didn't have the internet, so that helped. But when you don't have as much, you focus on what you do have. So I think I'll leave you guys with that. And then if you guys want to check us out, hopefully we'll have another show up next week. Check us out, the Reseller Niche Podcast Facebook group. We still have that up. And Russ is over on his YouTube channel too. And on Instagram, The Roaming Pickers. But until the next one, thanks for listening to the Reseller Niche Podcast. Have a good one, guys.